Good evening, everyone. We'll be waiting for a few more participants. There's just 35 watching as of now, so we'll be waiting for some more time. Hello. So I guess that is more than enough participants. We won't be getting more. So good evening, everyone. I am Abhimanyu. I'll be your quiz master for the evening, and I welcome you to the knockout quiz. That is the sports quiz of in the Infinito, the sports fest of IIT Patna. So this is the prelims round, and we'll be starting off with the rules right now. So the rules are pretty simple. There would be 20 questions in this quiz. Each question carries 10 points. The mark divisions will be mentioned by me in case like, a question requires more than one answer. So please fill in your answers in the G forms only. Please don't type them out in the YouTube live chat or in the WhatsApp WhatsApp chat or wherever, or in the Discord, right? And we will have a rerun at the end. So, and the form will close 1 minute after the reader ends. I'll be putting on a live timer clock, so like you can keep track of, right. And question number 4, 8, 12, 16 and 20 will be start mark. So they will be used to set L&D ties. No googling, like let's keep the spirit of quizzing alive, and it would straight away lead to disqualification. No questions asked. The organizers will straight away remove your entry, right? And at the end, happy quizzing to everyone. So here we'll be going on, right? So question number 1. So talking to Vice India, X tells the tale of how one of his followers asked his permission to have his photo on his credit card. Alarmed by this bizarre request, the follower then explained his reasoning for it. No, look, I used my credit card without thinking about it. And your expression and disappointment every time I take out my card will prevent me from using it. Who is X? Right, so now we'll be moving on to the next question. Question number 2. On the transfer deadline day of the summer transfer window in 2021, Newcastle United signed a player named S. Munoz. This young Mexican striker has also connections to the USA. All this combined made it a big story when his signing happened. Jokes and comparisons were happening all over the internet, and the minds of football fans went back to the mid 2000s. What was so special about this that caused such a reaction from the public? Okay, so now we'll be moving on to question number 3. So this figure is a giant of Indian sports administration, having held various posts at Hockey India, Indian Olympic Association and the International Hockey Federation. Amazingly, he has also been the president of all three at different times, and particularly being elected to the top post at the FIH was a historic feat, as he was the first non-European president of the FIH. Over the years, he has been in news for various reasons, both good and bad. He was instrumental in setting up HI, which replaced the failing organization IHF as India's representative of at the world body. He has been at the center of controversy sometimes for sacking of coaches and players, especially the abrupt departure of a Dutch coach of the Indian national team in 2015. However, X is seen as having been instrumental in reviving Indian hockey, increasing its popularity, and making India more powerful in the hockey world, both on the field and in the corridors of power within the FIH. Identify X. I guess that's enough time for question number 3. We'll be moving on to question number 4. Please note that question number 4 is a star mark question. Right. So this is how a golfer generally takes a shot. It provides stability and control, thus more chances of hitting the golf ball. I'll be playing the video now. Right, so very short video showing you how a golfer takes a shot. Right. So in 2009, as part of a sports science, Patrick Harrington tried a different swing inspired from the Happy Gilmore characteristic golf swing. It provides more power to the shot. Happy Gilmore is a character from an American movie who tried his hand at golf. His past experiences in a different sport influenced his characteristic golf swing. What was special about Gilmore's characteristic swing, and what was the other sport that influenced this swing of Gilmore? Again, please note that this is a star mark question. Okay, so that should be enough time for this question. Moving on to the next question. Right. So question number 5, very short question. What is the central connect for this sequence and identify X? Right. So Rod Laver, Philip Chatrier, X and Arthur Ashe. Okay, so pretty short question. We'll be moving on to the next question. Question number 6. X is a variant of Y that was first introduced as an indoor version of the sport but has since developed as an outdoor game that is played by adults, majority female, and children. Despite the close relationship between X and Y, there are some important differences such as difference in the size of the equipments and the field of play. The most striking difference between would be in this particular action that is involved in both the games but restricted to a low posture in X. Y does not have any such restrictions but side or high posture is preferred. Identify X and Y and the particular action being talked about in the last paragraph. Okay, that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 7. So in 2014, sorry, YouTuber Cassie Ethera uploaded an episode of the web series Through the Lens, which features a day in the life of X. During the show, X makes a perplexed facial expression when his mother claims that he was a clown in his younger years. A screen capture of the scene was subsequently circulated online. Identify X. Okay, I guess that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 8. Again, please note that this is a star mark question. So, this personality X comes from a marketing and sales background. He joined Philip Morris International in 1997 and worked his way up the corporate ladder through the Marlboro brand, which comes under the Philip Morris group. He became associated with the company's sponsorship of the Ferrari F1 team, with Ferrari being the most influential F1 team and Marlboro being their main sponsor. X became the representative of all the sports sponsors on the Formula One commission. When Ferrari was facing a crisis in 2010s, they appointed X as their team principal. He did improve the team's fortune but failed to deliver a championship, and after a series of second and third place finishes in the World Constructors' Championship, Ferrari sacked X. However, he has been associated with another big Italian sports entity, Y, since some time. He had held posts at Y even while working for Ferrari, and in 2021 he was made the CEO of Y. Identify X and Y. Again, please note this is a star mark question. So I guess that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 9. The wine company owned by this former sportsperson has the following different series of wines which represent the different pivotal moments of his sporting career. The 81 series, perhaps the highest point of his career, the 76 series and the 80 series. One of the other series was the All-Rounder, which pays tribute to the fact his on-field performance as well as his interest in winemaking. Which sportsman is being talked about here? Right. Who is this sportsman who owns this wine company? So I guess that should be enough time for this question. Moving on to question number 10. For many, it's the soundtrack of their childhood. Wake up, fire up the console, and hear those iconic words as your TV roars to life. The voice actor, yes, it wasn't artificially created, behind this sensational phrase released a tutorial revealing how to enunciate it properly. First and probably most important is volume. It is not something to be delivered lightly. It's firm. It is aggressive. It is from your guts hurling through the air as you growl like a hungry dog on a T-bone. There is a swagger, and it is the attitude that makes the line sing. This same phrase has been around for almost 30 years now and still remains the mainstay in every edition. Identify the iconic phrase. So right, that should be enough time for this question. Moving on to question number 11. So with respect to an, oh wait, I guess there's an error here. Wait. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Question number 11 will be cancelled. Sorry for this situation. We'll be moving on to question number 12. Please note that this is a star mark question. So X Warriors was the nickname given to the team of Asuka and Kairi. Both the performers are Japanese and made their name in Japan before moving to USA and teaming up there. It was here they were given the title of X Warriors, a reference to their Japanese heritage. X is a classical form of Japanese dance drama known for its heavily stylized performance the often glamorous costumes worn by the performers, and for the elaborate commodity makeup worn by some of its performers. All of this making it very appropriate name for the team. Identify X, and where have we seen this pair of superstars? Okay, that should be enough time for this question. Moving on to question number 13. So X describes Joan Manuel Lillo as his maestro and the best coach I ever had. A delightful praise considering who X was as a player and now as a manager. X has had varied influences from great coaches such as Johan Cruyff, Marcelo Bielsa, and even chefs like Ferran Adria. After his long, successful playing career in Spain, X had a brief spell in Italy before moving to Qatar, for what many assumed would be the final lucrative end. But to everyone's surprise, he chose to leave Europe to work with Lillo in Y, a rather unlucrative and even dangerous choice. It is a curious chapter, but a crucial one in X's career. If it was in Spain that his ideas were formed. It was Y, the home of the tricolors, where they were refined. Identify X and the country Y. So I think that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 14. Right. Last October, a certain successful team honored one of its countrymen on the golden feat achieved by the said person in the summer of 2021. They bestowed upon him a generous gift of 133,500 USD, that is 133,500 US dollars, and gave him their iconic yellow jersey with a special 4-digit number, which imperfectly showcased the incredible feat achieved by the person. Identify the team and the number being talked about here. Right, that should be enough time on this question. Moving to question number 15. So during the India versus Iran gold medal match in the women's kabaddi event final, at the 2014 Asian Games, a particular incident showed how winning is not everything. During that clash, one of the Iranian raiders, while the raid was on, immediately froze because of the discomfort. This was because something had happened to her in the raid. She could have easily been trapped by the defenders then. Instead, the Indians chose to help her. What happened? Right, so moving on to the next question. Question number 16. Again, please note this is a star mark question. So, this is the story of the unlikely friendship of X and Y. As a very important political figure of his notoriously secretive country, X is socially very limited. Adding to it, adding to it is the policy of his country to restrict any outside influence. So it's pretty insane that flamboyant Y of all people became a friend of X after visiting the nation with a wise filmmaker. X was a massive fan of Y's team from the 90s, and it was from that information that the idea of sending Y as an emissary was concocted. Fast forward to 2018, and Y is pushing for credit for the early release of a prisoner as well as talks between his and X's country. Identify X and Y. Yes, that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 17. So, in the winter of 1914, a series of widespread unofficial ceasefires along the Western Front was observed. British soldiers observed German soldiers placing trees outside their trenches and sang hymns such as Still Night, Silent Night, and replied to them with hymns of their own. British soldiers wrote of playing X and sharing food, drink, and exchange gifts with men who had been just a day earlier their mortal enemies. All was not frivolity, however, as some of the common, most common activities in areas observing the truce were not joint were joint services to bury the dead. So identify X. There was also no equivalent truce on the Eastern Front. Why? Right, so that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 18. So X is a boxing style where the hands are placed in front of the boxer's face. This boxing style offers extra protection to the face and makes it easier to jab the opponent's face. This style of boxing was developed by legendary trainer Cus D'Amato. This technique of boxing utilizes relaxed hands with the forearms in front of the face and the fist at nose eye level. Other unique features include side-to-side head movement, bobbing, weaving, and blindsiding the opponent. Identify X named after a very different non-violent game. Right, so I think that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 19. Francis Pienaar, the World Cup winning rugby captain of South Africa, who, who was the marketing head of IPL 2, is also the brains behind this universally recognizable feature of the IPL. Ladlet had given me the creative license. I was walking around and gazing the crowd reactions and was thinking, how can we bring other elements to it? I think I then remembered X, which actually came from rugby. When X is used, the rugby crowd goes ole, and I thought, let us bring it. Well, let us try this year, right? So we did, and all of a sudden, the reactions from the crowd were magnificent. It became a core thing of what we did in South Africa. So what is X, which has now came to be associated with the IPL forever? Right, so now we'll be moving on to question number 20. It is the finance drama question. Please note that. So this sporting event was organized by a head of state as an opportunity to present his country on the world map. Among the many different slogans that were seen during the event, the two of them are as follows: between two blacks, in a black nation, organized by blacks and seen by the whole world. That is a victory for mobilism, plus an honor for the black man. Which sporting event of the 20th century is being talked about here? Right, I guess that should be enough time on this question. Now we'll have a brief rerun. We'll also try to have the question number 11 as well. Like, I think it's working now. We'll try to play that again. Right. So question number 1, again identify who is X here. Right, that should be enough time. Question number 2, again what was special about this that caused such a reaction by public? Again, I guess that should be enough time. Question number 3, identify this figure of Indian sports administration associated with hockey and Olympics, majorly hockey. Right, that should be enough time here. Question number 4, right, I'll play the video once. Like, again, that is the way how a golfer normally takes a shot. And then Happy Gilmore did it differently because of his background in a different sport. So identify what did he do and what was his different sport he had a background in. Right, that should be enough time on this question. Question number 5. Again, very short questions and they'll connect in the sequence. A very short and sweet question. Moving on to question number 6. X is a variant of Y, so please be careful while naming X and Y. Right, moving on to question number 7. Identify this X, a perplexed facial expression. Right, that should be enough time. Question number 8, again a Strama question. Right. Personality, big in Ferrari F1 team as well as now in a bigger, in a different big Italian sports entity Y. So identify X and Y. Right, that should be enough time on this. Question number 9 now. A wine company owned by a former sports person. Identify the sports person. Right, that should be enough time. Moving on to question number 10. Okay, soundtrack of the childhood. Recognize, identify the phrase. Right, I guess that should be enough time. Moving on to question number 11. Right, I guess we can play it now. So we'll be stopping on this question for a while. So with respect to an upcoming sporting event, so what does this video introduce, like apart from the sporting venues? Right, so all the dots in the video here shows the venues where the events would be happening. So like what does this video introduce? Right, I'll play it once more on request. Again, right, all these dots are connected and they are introducing something. So you have to identify what is this video actually introducing, right? Connected to a sporting event. That should be enough time on this question. We'll be moving on to question number 12. Right, question number 12. Okay, and a star mark question. Again, identify the pair and where have you seen them. Moving on to question number 13 now. Okay. So X at the end of his playing career moved to country Y to play there obviously. So identify X and the country Y. Right, that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 14. Again, last year, judges gift of 133,500 US dollars, a special 4-digit number. So identify the team, iconic yellow jersey, and the number. Of course, the 4-digit number, the special number printed on the back of the jersey. Right, I guess that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 15. Again, this is a read and we'll be moving on fast. Right. So again, what happened in this match? The hints are all there in the second paragraph of this question. Yeah. Right, that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 16, again a star mark question. Friendship of X and Y. X is a political figure while Y is a sports person. Right, I guess that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 17. Right, identify X, sport they were playing, and why they weren't equivalent truths on the Eastern Front. Right, that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 18. X is a boxing style named after a very different non-violent game. So identify X. Right, I guess that should be enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 19. Right. So what is X here? Being associated with IPL. It came in IPL too. Again, I guess enough time on this question. Moving on to question number 20. Again, please note this is a start the question. Yeah, a sporting event of 20th century. The two bullet points will give you the slogans used for that. You have to identify the sporting event. Right, so that should bring us to the end of the quiz. Now I'll be starting this timer, and you'll be requested to submit your G forms before the timer ends. We'll be closing with G forms as soon as the timer ends. So that brings us to the end of this quiz. Now we'll be discussing answers. Hopefully all of you have submitted on time. Right. So coming to the answers now. So question number 1. Right, now you can write your answers in the chat box. Take your guesses. Right, the Pakistani meme guy, Sareem Akhtar is his name. Right. So Namanchan gets it. Disappointed Pakistani fan, like that is enough to get you full marks over here. Right. Samir is not the right answer. Hopefully you did write Pakistani fan. Moving on to the next question, question number 2. Yeah, feel free to leave now. Like we'll be just discussing answers. Any guesses for question number 2? Yeah, whole movie is the right answer. So like this occurrence is very similar to the plot of 2005 movie Goal. Like Santiago Muniz was the character in that, and new again signed for Newcastle United. So moving on to question number 3. Any guesses? Yep, Narendra Batra is the right answer. Very good. Right. A pretty simple question, I guess. Moving on to question number 4. Any guesses? So I don't see any guesses yet. Right. Ice hockey is the right answer. Slap shot, I guess. I'll look into that most probably. I think that's right. So ice hockey is the right answer. So the main thing here being is like taking a run up before making the shot, right? Because in golf you're always taught to stand still, have a firm ground, right, for stability, and then take the shot. But because Happy Gilmore was from ice hockey, he used to take a run up before the shot. That gave him more power, right? So I'll be playing the video now. So moving on to question number 5. Again, a pretty simple question. Yep, Wimbledon center court is the right answer, and the connect here being is like these are all the ground, like these are all the names of the main court of each Grand Slam event in tennis, right? So Lord Lever Arena is from the Australian Open, so Court Philippe Chartier is from the French Open, Art Tharash is the US Open, and remaining is the Grand Slam Wimbledon Arena, which is not named after any player but simply called the center court, right? So X is the center court. All of them are not tennis players. Right, moving on to question number 5. Any guesses? Volleyball and handball is a nice guess, but it's not the right answer. Softball and baseball is the right answer, right? So softball is, and the second answer, oh sorry, I already moved it, right? The pitching is different. Like in softball, you are advised to pitch, like the rule is you have to pitch underhand, but in baseball, it's generally sidearm or overarm, right? Because that gives you more pace. You can't just throw it underarm, that will just give you very less pace and it's not useful in baseball, right? So, and as you can see, the size is different, the field size is different, the ball size is different. Right? Softball has a bigger ball, baseball has a smaller, harder ball. Right? So, moving on to question number 7. Any guesses? Yup, the answer is Nick Young, and this is that confused Nick Young meme. Right. Moving on to question number 8. Yep, Juventus CEO and the Arriva Bene, right? That is the right answer. X and Y. Like, let's move on to the next question. Again, this was a Starbucks question, so kudos for getting it right. Moving on to question number 9. Yep, Ian Botham is the right answer. Right. So Ian Botham wins. Moving on to question number 10. Yeah, right. Vishal Kumar, I can see your comments. I'll be dealing with you later. Right. Moving on. Yep. EA Sports, it's in the game, is the right answer.
Cover the sound. Alright. EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's not bad. How about this? EA Sports. It's in the game. That's better.
Right. So that is question number 10. Now question number 11. Yep, so Commonwealth Games 22 is the right answer. It's not the right answer. The logo of Commonwealth 2022 in Birmingham is the right answer. So the video showcases the logo of 2022 Commonwealth Games. Right, so as you can see, the logo of Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games is formed by connecting all the dots, right? So moving on to next question. Again a Rama question. Yeah, like you'll have to get the logo for getting the right answers. Birmingham was right there in the video, so you won't be getting any marks for that. Yep, Kabuki and WWE is the right answer. So they are the tag team. They are one of the tag team champions. Like they were very at a very long run, and they're like now they're I don't think they're both employed by the WWE, right? But they're known as the Kabuki Warriors. That's their nickname. Moving on to question number 13. Yeah, plus 10 for every correct answer. Yep, Pep Guardiola and Mexico is the right answer. So moving on to question number 14. Yep, CSK and 8758 is the right answer. So the recipient was Neeraj Chopra, right? So they gave him the jersey and couldn't add the decimal point, obviously. So 8758 is written on the back of his jersey. Right, moving on to question number 15 now. Yeah, so her hijab was coming off, right? So that's why all the players paused, and they let her put it back on again. So moving on to question number 16 now. Again, Shama question. No, fainted due to Ramadan fasting is not the right answer. Yep, Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong Un is the right answer. So X being Kim Jong Un and Y being Dennis Rodman. A very, very unlikely friendship. Moving on to question number 17. Yep, so this event is known as the Christmas Day Truce, and the soldiers play football together. And there was no equivalent truce on the Eastern Front. Why? that is a very general answer, not a very sports centric answer. But anyways, the answer is that on the Eastern Front, Russia was still operating in the Julian calendar, so the Russian Orthodox Christmas would not be observed until early January. So like because their Christmas dates did not align, so they did not observe a truce. Right. So question number 18 now. Yep, peekaboo is the right answer. So moving on to question number 19. Yeah, the bugle sound or the IPL horn is the right answer. I'll be playing that sound now. Right, the IPL trumpet or the bugle sound. Right, so basically that first sound that you heard, right, I'll play it again. That is the IPL trumpet and that is taken from rugby. Right, so moving on to question number 20 now. Right, sure, I'll check into Vuvuzela sound if it's the right answer. And for the team tune, I'll look into it. I'm not sure if I can give you full marks for that. Yeah, Rumble in the Jungle is the right answer. So the heavyweight boxing match between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali in Kinshasa, that is in Zaire, known as the Rumble in the Jungle. So that brings us to the end of the quiz. So thank you all for participating. We'll be releasing the score as soon as the top 8 as soon as possible, and the finals will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. And the finals will be live streamed on the Infinito channel, not on the Quiz Club channel. So all the audience are also allowed to be, they can attend that quiz as well. So thank you all.